This is Kathy from Gadgets Top 321, and in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at some teal inks. I took all the blue and bluish green inks from my collection and tried to sort them into blue, teal, and turquoise, and these 5 inks are what I came up with for teal. I'm going to be taking a look at Iroshizuku Tsuki-yo. This is the bluest of all the inks we're looking at. And Callifolio Equinoxe 6. Sailor Shikiori Yamadori, Akkerman Dutch Masters Israel Zeeblauw, and Krishna Lyrebird Green. Now I got this ink sample from Van Ness Pens, and on the website and on this sample it says Lyrebird Green, but the picture of the bottle said Lyrebird Water Green. Excuse me. And the swatch they showed looked pretty green, but this is more of a blue, kind of a pale teal. And so I went to Krishna's website and it shows the same bottle and it calls it Lyrebird Waterproof Green, and it shows up really green. Now I've seen at least one ink review that had the same looking ink that I did, so I don't know if maybe there was an issue with just one batch or if there's been a change in formulation. I'm not sure, but for what it's worth, this is what color I got. Okay, I'm gonna start out with Tsuki-yo. Okay, let me get my inks out of the way so they're not casting a shadow. And teals are notoriously difficult to photograph, so if you're interested in any of these, make sure you get a sample or something, or this will be a little more informative of how they compare to each other and just how they come out of the nib. Okay, like I mentioned, this one's the bluest of all of these. Oh. This is one of my favorite inks. It just performs well in a variety of nibs. Okay, next is Callifolio Equinoxe, and it performs very similarly to Tsuki-yo. It just has a little more green in it. Well, it took it a little while to get started there. You can see it's a little more green. These first two are somewhat dark inks, but depending on the type of nib you put them in, you'll see some nice shading. That's one of the things I like about these. Alright, next is Sailor Shikiori Yamadori, and this is probably the most saturated of all of these that I'm going to show today. And there's some nice, it's dark, but it's bright. That's one of the things I like about this ink. All right. Okay, next is Akkerman Israel Zeeblauw. Now we're getting into some of the more pale. We've got, these last two are more pale. Now, originally when I tried this ink, I really liked it in my Pilot Prera with the stub nib, but it just didn't perform well. It was kind of dry and would hard start, had trouble getting going. I'm going to try it in this Kaweco Perkeo. I'm liking my initial results, but this cap, I don't think it has a cap liner, so we'll have to see how it performs after it sets overnight. But it's a little bit more pale, but I like the shading I see in this one. And it's just, there's some feedback in this nib, like the first three, these generic medium nibs, replacement nibs, were pretty smooth, a little more smooth than I prefer. This has a little feedback. It's smooth, but with some pencil lead type feedback and I can hear it on the paper. I like the way it sounds. Okay, and the last one is Lyrebird Green. Now, this is not the nib that I typically use with this. I wanted it to be similar to the others. I'm going to redip this. I have been having trouble with this nib. See how it's kind of separated from the feed? Hold on a minute. I'm going to see if I can... There we go. Or you may see this advertised as Lyrebird Water Green. And actually, in this nib, I'm a little bit more fond of it than I usually am. You've got to watch, if you like the Pilot Medium nib, it's just flat and pale. But I'm seeing some nice shading in, I guess this nib is wetter. It's like a paler version of this Akkerman ink. Yeah, that's not too bad. I'm going to scribble over this one more time. All right. Okay, so the first two, I think, are my favorites. The Tsuki-yo and the Equinoxe. They're both very similar inks. The Tsuki-yo leans a little more blue and the Equinoxe has a little more green in it. But they have nice shading. But I'm getting stumbled on my words. They're saturated, but there's still some shading. The Sailor Shikiori Yamadori it's getting later in the day. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's much more saturated, and there's a lot of a lot of sheen, especially on this Tomoe River paper. I like Israel's Zeeblauw. I like the shading, and I like these two, but the top two are my favorite. All right. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.